Are you in an abusive relationship? This situation is not one in which you want to find yourself. Nevertheless, this kind of situation can happen to all spouses and couples, or even between friends and acquaintances. Young people are the most vulnerable to abuse, and this applies to both abusive companions and abusive partners. Welcome to Fragile Mind. In this video, we'll discuss 15 ways to get away from an abusive relationship. What is physical and emotional abuse? There are two different kinds of abusive relationships, physical and emotional. These are certain relationships wherein one party inflicts physical or emotional, or even both, injury to the other. Abusive relationships can also lead to loneliness or worse, depression. Domestic violence is a crime and is a form of physical abuse. The abuser could be using both of these forms of abuse combined. It has been said that this abuse may be displayed in relationships wherein one person attempts to inflict dominance over their partners with pain, fear, force, guilt, shame, or intimidation. These relationships are toxic, and perhaps the simplest way to get away is to distance yourself from them, perhaps for a while or for the long term should you really need to move on. Without further ado, here are 15 ways to get away from an abusive relationship. You might also want to consult with lawyers or counseling experts. Number 1. Acknowledge where the abuse is coming from. Awareness is key. Recognizing where the abuses are coming from and awakening to this reality will lead to solutions. Victims are often intimidated by the things happening around them and learn that abuse may go beyond physical means. It may be psychological or even emotional. Verbal abuse is also rampant in abusive relationships. You do not have to wait for things to become violent before you get away from the relationship. Sexual assault is another type of abuse. Remember that many abusers are charming at first, but abusive on the inside. In these abuses, by learning and becoming more aware of what they are. Number 2. Don't be afraid to seek help. One of the mistakes of individuals suffering from abuse make is the failure to ask for help from the authorities. Some agencies and organizations offer the best support possible when it comes to escaping from these relationships. Remember not to be afraid to seek advice when necessary. These organizations have contact numbers and people who can talk to you instantly on the other end of the line. These people are guaranteed to be specialists on abuse or even health professionals. So be sure that you take these resources into consideration. Number 3. Stop all forms of contact. This may apply more to couples who are not yet married or not yet committed to one another. One of the most effective things you can do is to shut down all forms of contact with that abusive person, including the internet and social media, that may be allowing that person to abuse you either verbally or psychologically. There are several opportunities for abusers to hurt you when they contact you online, so be aware of this. Number 4. Find the root cause. There are times when the abusive relationship may be partly your fault or unbeknownst to you, it could be triggered by you. You have learned about awareness and now it's time that you implement this. There are instances when a hurtful childhood may be leading you to do things today. It could stem from your cultural, racial, ethnic, educational, or economic. When you stay in these types of relationships, you may easily fall into depression, and this can make you feel tired or unable to take decisive action. Number 5. Record everything or write it down. Journaling has been proven to help in coping with these abusive relationships. Record everything so you can tell your own story to yourself, like talking to a therapist or a counselor. The journal will allow you to easily look back at what's happened whenever you need to. This will also be a reference for you as you talk to doctors or therapists, and will help them identify the best therapy or treatment for you. Number 6. Prepare an emergency bag. Abusive relationships are not just about verbal and psychological abuse. There are individuals who suffer from worst-case scenarios involving bloodshed, wounds, bruises, and even death threats. It is best that you avoid these horrible outcomes by preparing an emergency kit. The emergency bag should have everything you need to protect yourself as well as things you want to bring when you plan to leave the house, such as keys, medical supplies, food, and more. Number 7, draft your game plan. Having a game plan is the best way to stay on track with where you're headed, away from your abuser. If you have family and friends near you, then it's important to get to them right away. However, if your abuser is violent, you don't want to just act without a plan. Wherever you're wanting to go, be sure to create a plan before you make your escape. Number 8, get a safe for your belongings and money. This sounds easy, but the details could be complicated. Perhaps one of the best things to do is to be able to safely store your belongings, but obviously you never want your abuser to know about it. If you don't have a safe, then you can entrust your money to a relative or a friend, or you may decide to open a different bank account. Number 9, notify your friends and family members. If you have supportive friends and family members, then you'll have to be more open with them about the abusive relationship you're in. Tell them what's been going on, and if you plan to leave, then notify them. These are among the best ways that you can ensure that you will be safe as you carry out your plan of action. Number 10, keep in mind that you're not at fault. Don't make your life harder. Realize that in abusive relationships, you're the victim, and therefore you're not at fault. You deserve better. This should always be your mantra. If you're being abused, then have it be your mindset that no one else will ever do this to you again. Leaving the relationship may be difficult, but you will have to weigh the options. But you should cut yourself off from these connections when necessary. Number 11, set finances aside. Abuse about money matters. If you want to resolve these issues, you have to set money aside and think about yourself. In other words, start to set some money aside so you can use it for the future or the future of your family. Number 12, prepare yourself for moving on. The phase of moving on is a highly anticipated one because it's in these moments that you ponder the things you need to think about. Abusive relationships can leave a devastating mark on your life, and engaging yourself in these phases is necessary. Are there mental preparations involved? Yes, because these moments are crucial in order for you to let go of the past. Number 13, find safe areas in your home. Safety is essential, and it's necessary to create these safe areas at home. Know where to go when abuse is happening, and if there is a need to lock yourself up, do so. Number 14, rehearse your escape. One of the worst impacts of abuse is that it will intimidate you into not moving out. Nevertheless, you will have to find the opportunity to escape. Practice makes perfect. Just as you need to find safe areas in your home, you must also know the best escape routes. Number 15, keep a list of emergency contacts. Things can get serious anytime and anywhere. As soon as you feel there are threats being made in your relationship, or in other words, abuse, then you must know who to call. You should have a phone book or list of people whom you can easily reach out to whenever you need to communicate or report these issues. To get out of abusive relationships, you must be brave, and you must be familiar with what you plan to do. It's essential to end this abusive relationship with the right resources. Aside from the tips given here, you can do your own research on the best resources as well. If you find yourself in the middle of these issues, there are people around who can help you. It could be your family and friends, relatives, or counselors ready to give you tips. Be sure to keep an open mind, listen, and unravel your heart to the possible changes you can make. You can do it.